Welcome everybody to Bugbears and Brews. My name's Brian, and today we're doing Encounter recap number 15 of the Tomb of Annihilation campaign. I know last week I said it was 13, and there's some debate, and Mark had photographic evidence of the sessions and that kind of stuff there. So he was right, I was wrong. This is actually number 15. Last week was number 14, but oh well. So I know I started off by saying I wasn't going to retcon anything. You guys were where you guys were, but then we had two people out. One of them being Jose, who triggered the trap. So I didn't feel right with you guys being stuck in this trap with the person who triggered the trap being gone, because he would be kind of a major role player in the trap and solving and that kind of stuff there. So I said, all right, he quickly puts it back on, the doors swing open, but from there on out, we know that's not going to be the right solution. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking a lovely, what is this, Blind Faith? Yeah, Blind Faith from Magic Hat. Magic Hat's always good stuff. Blind Faith IPA. So he put that back, and you guys kind of have an idea of what was going on there. And you figured out, hey, let's send Sai, the monk rogue now, because he multi-class into rogue. Let's send Sai along these planks that were sticking out all over the walls of this shrine here to get across to the other side of that tomb and avoid the spike pit. And so he started jumping on it, and as soon as he jumped on one, the one in front of the plank in front of him and the plank behind him slid away. And then he jumped to the next plank, and the plank that he was originally on slid away. And then once again, the ones in front and behind him also slid away. So he had to kind of pick and choose where he was jumping. And so through a combination of good athletics checks and step of the wind, he got there pretty safely. Minus one part, he had to make a pretty far jump. He had a mediocre athletics check, so he was hanging on to the edge of one of these planks as it's sliding in. He pulls himself up, and he's able to continue along. When he's there at the cube trying to figure out what to do, you guys did have this leftover puzzle cube from the wreck of the Star Goddess that you thought was going to be about the same way. Leorin, even though he wasn't there, I rolled an intelligence roll. He was able to identify it's about a half a pound for this little cube. And so you guys were able to, judge the weight and make a quick swap of the cube. Luckily, thanks to quick handwork, Sai was able to swap that cube out, and then I think he had really good athletics checks going back around. I will say, kind of backtracking a little bit here, this puzzle cube, you guys wanted to find out what was in it. So Barlow started doing some twists and turns with it, and eventually got it open and found it was a cheap decoder ring. Was it what turned out to be? He's really excited. He's like, described as a decoder ring, and he started like thinking it's magical. And was like, oh, asking everybody to speak these speak languages that he doesn't understand, but it didn't magically give him the ability to comprehend languages, didn't give him the ability to read anything, and it actually broke within like a few minutes of him playing with it. But he fixed that with mending. So yeah, Sai switched out the cube and then started heading back, safely got back to where you guys were. I think at the end there was a really far jump, and so he made the jump, and then I think Card cast Levitate as Sai was jumping just to give him a little extra safety to make sure he got there, just because of the way the trap mechanic worked, or the mechanics within that shrine worked. From there, you guys went and decided, let's take... Did you do a long rest? You did a short rest, that's right. No, you did do a long rest. You did do a long rest, I'm sorry. Yes. You did a long rest. You found a spot to hide in. And you had a couple of Yanti go by you guys, but you stayed quiet. They didn't bother you. You didn't bother them. And then thanks to the tiny hut spell, you guys were able to safely get a nice long rest, hit level 6 with that, and then proceeded on to kind of investigate the rest of Lower Omu and onto a next shrine. So walking around Lower Omu, the only thing that you guys kind of got across that was of some interest was this old campsite that wound up finding a crumpled up note and something about finding the Tomb of the Gods. It's marked by an obelisk, and there's something about the Eye of Zoltek or something along those lines. Uh, couldn't quite figure out what the hell these guys were talking about. Is Eye of Zoltek seems to be in the line or in the tomb there. You wrote down, took some notes from it. It was from the Bannerman of the Yellow Bannerman or something along those lines. Sorry about that, man. Let's cure that frog in the throat. But yeah, like I said, you took some notes on that. But the everything looked kind of months old, so nothing that you're going to get too much use out of as far as like materials and that kind of stuff. Heading on to the next shrine, the shrine of Ijen, who is I forget the term of him, a marge, something along those lines. The rabbit with the bunny corn, the rabbit with the the horn on it. You guys were sitting there taking a look at that and looking at the entrance there. The clue or the hint for the puzzles for this shrine was, take the path least expected. And so it had a picture of the bunny corn charging this fuzzy little Care Bear looking thing with ferocious fangs and claws. Thinking that charging in on this, this bunny charging the bear is probably the path of least expected attack there, or defense, or whatever you want to call it, based on whatever it's you're trying to portray. You guys are you open up the door and it opens up and there is 4 rows of 8 tiles, and you guys are presented with what you believe is puzzle number 1. And as you guys are looking that over, trying to decide what's going on, you look off to the side and there's one of those bunny corns that this shrine is all about. And so you guys are debating, let's feed it a little bit, let's get it over to us, thinking it might have some sort of link to the shrine. And so you guys, you're debating about what to get out there, and it starts taking off, and that's when Barlow quickly ties a rope around himself. First he ran to the corner, and he saw that there's like 9 different burrow holes, and he decided, I'm going to go check out some of those burrow holes because he's small enough to squeeze into it, because this bunny's like 2 feet tall if it's standing on his hind legs, and then the horn's another foot. So he can squeeze in these holes, relatively easily. So he tied a rope around him and he started going down these tunnels. He's popping up out of one hole. The bunny corn's popping up out of another hole. Car's over there putting food by each hole. Barlow's popping up and grabbing some of the food and heading back down. And eventually he gave up on, gave up on tracking down the bunny corn through its lair. So he came back out, and you guys decided, let's go ahead and just do the dungeon, puzzle, shrine, puzzle, whatever you want to call it proper. You guys did a little bit of debate on how to take care of the first puzzle, and you went on a couple different methods of how you could solve it, and eventually somebody's like, hey, this row has only the animals are only repeated once. So there was 8 unique tiles, and there was one row where each of the unique tiles were only repeated once. Some you were thinking the tiles were animals, so one you were thinking you had to jump from bunny head to bunny head. And the other one was, you guys, I forget what the other theories were, but that was the main ones you were leaning towards is only step on unique tiles, and the other one was jump from bunny head to bunny head. So Car led the way and stepped on the bunny head and immediately was blessed with temporary hit points. That rocks. And he's stepping, walking along the way. I'm describing what these things are doing. Clicks are going on, steps or tiles are sinking in, and gears, you can hear gears grinding, you can hear his walls shifting, all sorts of weird stuff, but he keeps on going on. And he hits one where it sinks down like a foot or half a foot, and it makes this loud click, and he stops. And that's when he tells Oric, like, hey, let's check the other method, because I think this is not the best method to do. Oric steps on the bunny tile, the closest bunny tile, makes a leap, lands on the other bunny tile, and sets off a trap as all sorts of poison darts go riddling out of the walls. Winds up hitting Oric, winds up hitting Car there. So Car's like, you know what? That failed. Let's just go ahead and go across, continue along this method, and he makes it across safely. I admitted later to using all that fluff to fuck with you guys, and while you thought it was well played, you also all thought I was an asshole. From there, you had a maze that you had to go through, and you guys made absolutely 100% correct turns every single time through the maze. At the end, there was a dead end, and looking through the dead, around the dead end, you could kind of figure there's something there. And Carr once again came to the rescue with the Wand of Secrets, and displayed the hidden wall that was there. You guys got into the next area. Here's this cube hanging out, and you look down, and there's like a burrow hole at the far side of the room that the bunny corner can come up in and out of this section without having to worry about any sort of traps. So, not Leorn, because Leorn was gone. Navarre reached out and grabbed the cube via Mage Hand. And that was the end of that shrine. You guys backtracked pretty successfully. Nobody getting lost. Nobody setting off additional traps, that kind of stuff there. From there, you wanted to go check out. There's a couple other buildings that you want to check out. And so you headed off towards what eventually wound up being kind of like a food courty and vendor stall area. You guys looked around for a couple goodies. Barlow found an old book. He was super excited, but he opened it up and the pages inside were all destroyed, sopping wet and full of bugs and just no good. Let's see here. You guys found a statue explaining a little bit of the nine gods' relationship to each other, because each of these gods, the shrines that you've been to, they've had an opposing animal. So you found that the four opposing, the sets of opposing, four opposing sets, and then the one, I'll call it neutral referee, whatever you want to call it, standing in the middle. Tim, non-evil Tim has the notes on who's opposed to who and that kind of stuff there. Non-evil Tim / Oric found a bone chest plate, which is equivalent to, I think I said scale mail. And then, let's see here. We found a couple other cool things, I thought. Oh yeah, Sai found some stone daggers, some stone like cutlery in one of the old restaurants, along with an obsidian blade. I said the obsidian dagger crits on a 19 or a 20, but it absolutely shatters on a crit fail there. So a little bit of benefit, but possibly drawback as well. I forgot what Navarre found. Oh, I think Navarre just found, he was looking for like signs of like the Yantine, that kind of stuff, and he found just a couple more graffiti marks of Dindar the Night Serpent. From there, you guys went up to a tower and just kind of took a little scope of the area. Sadly, a lot of the area isn't easily visible from where you are because a lot of buildings are starting to get a little bit taller now that you're, when I say tower, I mean like it's a 3-story building and you're surrounded by a bunch of like 2-story buildings. But you did see across the, we'll call it overflooded area, not overflooded, just be flooded area of the of Omu. There looks to be a shrine. So you guys have 2 possible shrine leads, and you ended up, we wrapped up, you guys got to the next shrine, you guys backtracked south a little bit because there's a building that you guys passed along the way. You said, yeah, I think that could be a shrine. We backtracked there, and it is indeed a shrine, and it's a shrine to a Commodin. So that's where we're going to pick up. You guys think, I know there's people already spitballing like, hey, we have this baby Commodin cub. Maybe we can do something that ties in with that. Maybe we can, I think Oric said sacrifice it. That's just mean. It's a kitten. Come on. But he's been trying to get rid of that damn thing for ages, or since he joined the group, I shouldn't say ages. He's been with us since like mid-November. So had a lot of fun. Interesting to see you guys, tackle some puzzles, not have combat. I really enjoyed fucking with you guys with that the tile um, piece there. That was some really good DM fuckery that I haven't done in a while. Really looking forward to seeing how these other shrines play out. Surprised that we got through two of my, and then made our way to the third, as well as having a bit of exploration. I figured we were either going to do one and do some exploration, or do two and that was it. But here we did two, did some exploration, and got chalked up in the third one there. I think part of that was because there was a much smaller crowd at Fun for All this week and not nearly as loud as it normally is, so I didn't have to repeat myself as much, that kind of stuff there. So really excited for next week. We got at least one shrine that we know of, and more than likely a second shrine that we know we can get to, along with some other areas of interest that we can go to, get into some really exploration-y type deals. Evil Tim and Jose, don't forget level up to level 6 if you haven't. See you guys on Wednesday. Bye.